Hello there.
Hello.
Well, yes, welcome to Sister Pods via Lifases Belima's YouTube.
That's all right. That's all right. Stuff
We,
happens.
oh my goodness, we had some challenges, but we know that when God is in the mix of something, He's gonna make it happen. So, welcome again to Sister Pods. My name is Titi, and I'm here with my lovely and amazing guest,
Mhm.
Miss Lifase Bilima Mpasu. Did I get the last name right?
Yes, you did. You did.
Oh,
You did.
okay.
You did.
Awesome. Thank you so much for whoever is going to watch this live or for whoever is going to watch this later. Um, Come on in and just gather with us. Today,
Yeah.
we're doing a Sunday night highlight. Um, our podcast usually goes live on Thursdays, but we had an incredible highlight that we wanted to kind of just plug. We're going into a new year, and we need some refreshing, and we need some vibrancy. So I thought, who more to reach out to than Lifase? First of all, Lifase, before I go into reading your bio,
Okay.
because we have to have a proper introduction.
Okay.
I have to say, I'm so excited to be speaking with you. You're just like a little sister to me.
Yes.
And I want to give a shout out to your mom and dad, who I love very dearly, the
Mhm.
Belimas. Those are like my folks too.
Yes.
I
Yes.
I grew up coming to your home. Your
Mhm.
sister was my elementary bestie,
Yes.
Ikiwe, and
Mhm.
Jonathan is just like a big bro to me. Always teaching us music and playing the piano and things of that nature. So this feels really good to be touching base with you and just to be reconnecting with you. So I'm excited about that.
I'm honored. I'm honored. Just like you said, yeah, honestly, it's like a full circle moment because
It
I grew
is.
up knowing that you're my big sister, like one of those big
Yeah.
sisters in town. So when you reached out, I was like, really? Me?
Yes, yes, and honestly,
Yes.
I'm so excited that, when I reached out to you, because I really do believe in, divine,
Mm,
even when you know someone, you can't take it for granted and think that's who God wants to connect you with.
mm,
But I just knew when I reached out to you, especially when we spoke, I could just feel it through the conversation. I could just feel this is what God, wanted, and everything happens in His time. So,
yes.
anyways, again, we are not going to hold you all too long.
Mm,
Welcome to Sister podcast.
thank
Tonight, our guest is Lifase Mpasu. Lifase is a wife. She's a mother of three, under three. She's an author, and she is the founder of Little Lights Christian Preschool. Little Lights Christian Preschool is a faith based early learning community that inspires families to grow together in grace and in purpose. Lifase also holds an associate degree in early childhood education and a bachelor's degree in child and family development. With those degrees, she blends her professional expertise with her personal passion for motherhood and ministry. Lifase is also a powerhouse worship leader with a heart and very just passionate about the Lord. She's devoted to helping women rise, heal, and flourish in every season of their lives. One
you.
of the other things that Lifase is doing that she has done before and has just done recently again. She's written a number of books and she is on her third book. So we're excited to be touching base tonight and reconnecting and talking about all the wonderful things that the Lord is doing in her life. Lifase, welcome to Sister Pods.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored. I'm like, is that me that you're reading about? Thank
Yes, it
you. Thank
is. Yes,
you.
it is. You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome. So let's roll right into this. I have been thinking so much about, especially lately in the last few months, I've been thinking about faith and how important it is to have faith, and that faith accesses, certain areas of our lives that we would not have access to if we didn't have that faith.
Mhm.
And we know that in Hebrews, it talks about how it is impossible to please God without faith.
Mm.
So I want us to touch base on that. Tell us a little bit about yourself,
Okay.
and let's talk about faith and how faith has played a role in your life thus far.
Well, I think my thank you again for inviting me to this platform. I don't take it for granted. Anytime that I get to share a little bit of my story, I believe all the glory goes to God, at least when I get to
Amen.
share about what God has done in my life and what He's doing. So like the bio said, I'm a wife, I'm a mother of three under three. I am by career a teacher, but a worshiper at heart. I love worship. That is what I believe that God created me to do, and also worship through my words, through writing. I love writing. I feel like that's the best way I express myself. That's the best way I
Wow.
can commute very well. Sometimes when you talk, you like, did I say that right? But definitely when I do write, I feel like I do create, communicate exactly what is all upon my heart. And so,
Okay.
like you said, like I've written two books, and in this season, I've written my third book, which I'm really excited about. And talking about motherhood, something that God has been just really teaching me a lot about in this season, especially being a mom of three under three, and never knew that I'd be three under three. uh,
Wow. Wow.
but like you said, they're talking about faith, and I believe without faith, it's hard to do anything.
Mhm.
I feel like when I look back upon my life story about faith, there's a lot of faith moments. One of the faith moments that I had in my life that is still significant to me, at least. My husband and I, we were engaged, and our parents were like, you know what, you're gonna get married the following year. And so I think we made the decision, I believe that was September 2021. And we're like, actually, I think we can get married in December that year. Not the next year, but
Wow.
that year. And I'm telling you, when we said that, it was by faith. It
Okay.
was by faith. It wasn't like we're looking at the bank account thinking that, oh, it's going to be fine, and especially in our community, African community, big
Mhm.
weddings is a thing. It's a
Yeah.
must. It has to happen like that. And
Oh,
so
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember in that moment, like my mom looking at me like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And when you have faith, it doesn't mean like, I mean, there you have the faith, and sometimes when you are speaking it out loud to people, in the heart of your heart, you're like, "I don't got it together, but I'm having
Yeah.
faith. I'm having
Yeah.
faith right now." And so I remember we walked through that season of having faith, and
Mhm.
literally, like, we just saw the hand of God come through, and we did get married that year
Oh,
in December.
wow.
It took we literally planned that almost in 3 months, and
Whoa.
that was just a faith moment. But one of the deeper moments for me, about faith is honestly, I think, coming into being a mom of twins.
Mhm.
That was faith. When I say faith, meaning like the journey.
Yeah.
When we found out we were expecting twins, it was now like just living by faith that everything will go well,
Yeah.
despite what everyone, when they hear you're about to be expecting. Sometimes people like say their fears to you, and so you start eating up
Good.
those fears. You're like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, you're hearing stories of this twin mom and this twin mom and this happened in this situation, and fear starts building up in your heart and your mind, and so it was in this season that I was like, no, it's by faith. By faith we
Mm,
will get to the end of the term. By faith these
amen.
children will live. By faith I
Mhm.
will have these babies full term, and we did.
Mm.
And it was
Mm.
only by faith. It was when things didn't look right, but we had faith. And so I've
Amen.
I've seen faith happen not only with people call it miracle money, but I've seen faith when you have no cash, but cash shows up. I've seen faith through healing when the
Mhm.
doctors are telling you otherwise, but you're still believing and trusting in God to come through for you. So that's what I believe in faith. And actually, even this third book, it's by faith. I have
Amen.
no time to be writing. I,
Girl,
you know,
I
I
was I was like I was like, "How look, how she do it? I can barely get
no,
through one."
no, I like it was I just said, God, by faith, I'm going, but and by the grace of God, actually, when you ask God to give you the grace, He gives special grace for
Oh,
each
yeah.
moment of your life that you need. And so, those are just a few moments in my life that I have seen. When we put faith to work and it actually comes to pass. And I like to call it stubborn faith because
Oh,
stubborn faith, it makes you look stubborn. It
that
makes you faith
that
can
sounds
make
like
you
that sounds like a nice title. I wanted to plug that right there. That sounds like a nice title of your next book.
oh my stubborn faith will make you look like she doesn't does she see the facts?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're not looking at the facts. You're just believing and trusting in God to just come through. So it
Wow.
makes you look stubborn. So I love
Um,
to call it in the moments where I need to have stubborn faith. I'm like, I have to have stubborn faith right now.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. I'm taking all that in. First and foremost, congratulations on the twins.
Thank you.
Uh, that is such a double blessing. You hear about people having twins, but I can't actually say I know someone. I do
Yeah.
know someone who had twins, growing up, but
Mhm.
it must be an incredible feeling to come home with two babies, and I know you guys are probably busy, but it's a good busy, right?
Good busy. It's a blessing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so congratulations on that, and,
Thank
we just
you.
praise God for, bringing them, bringing them full term,
Mhm.
and we know that God has a calling on their life. We may
Yes.
not know the calling right now, but
Yes.
definitely God is going to, go ahead of them and cover them.
Mhm.
So let's talk more about, what you have going on. I am still so excited to be talking to you. I feel like and this feels so organic. I
I
feel
know.
like yeah, right? I'm
I
like,
know.
"Okay." I'm like, "My girl." But yeah, I'm so excited for all the things that, God is doing in your life and also just being able to give you the focus and the discipline to write another book, even while being in such a busy phase of your life. That just shows how women have the ability, the God-given ability to multitask. That
Yes.
is, a very beautiful thing. So, if I say your family is from Malawi,
Yes.
and, you know, while we were researching, while TK and I were, TK is not available to join us tonight, but,
Mhm.
I'm here representing both of us.
Mhm.
And while she was doing her research, she found some information, telling us about your experience in, or somewhat of your trip to Malawi, where
Yeah.
you had a podcast, interview there. Can you share a little bit about, that trip, or at least what you guys shared, or what you saw in Malawi, what you witnessed, especially after being here for a while and going home? How
Mhm.
was that trip?
So that trip, so I'll talk about my 2012 experience. I was born here in the United States. So my parents are from Malawi, but I was the one that my older siblings, Nikki and Joanna are the ones that were born there, but I was born here.
Okay.
So in 2012 was my second time going to Malawi after I had been there when I was about 5 years old. So I couldn't really remember anything. So I take 2012 as the first time that I visited Malawi. And
Okay.
at that time, I had just graduated high school, and I was also in a season where I didn't know what I was going to do, like
Okay.
career wise. And so we took that trip. I didn't go straight into college that semester because that trip was in the middle of school starting. And so I decided that, "Oh, I'll just start next semester, no big deal." And so my parents and I went, and it was honestly one of the most life-changing trips for me, because growing up here, hearing the stories that my parents would share about how they grew up, their life, their lifestyle in Malawi, it all made sense when I got there because I actually got to live it for about a week or two. Um, I think one of the hardest moments for me to see was going into the schools in Malawi. We visited one of the schools where my dad used to pastor at, and it was really hard to see the school system and how, comparing to America, like there's like little things that we take for granted, like the nice classrooms that we have, the
Mhm.
desk, the chairs, the unlimited
Mhm.
resources of school supplies that are available for students, computers, like little things like that, that I saw that there was a lack of. But then to see students with the joy of going to school, with
Mhm.
students seeing that this is like going to school is actually something that they need to do because they know that from there their life can change, and it's different
Mhm.
from here, our culture here. We grow up knowing that you have to go to school, you know what I mean? But we don't naturally think that, oh, if I go to school, if I'm going whatever I'm doing here in school, it's going to change my life later. It's for the benefit of
Yeah.
me later. It's
Yes.
completely different. And so when I saw that in the students, my heart was for them, and I came back. Like I said again, I didn't know what I wanted to do career wise, and for the longest time, I kept hearing. Before that, a lot of I used to get like a lot of people used to tell me, like, "You're gonna be a teacher," and I was like, "No. Why would I wanna be a teacher? Why would I wanna be a teacher?" Because to be quite honest, teachers here, it's not about the pay to be a teacher
Yeah.
here. It's honestly a calling. It's a
Yeah.
calling to be a teacher. It's a ministry,
Sure.
to
Mhm.
sow seeds into the lives of children, to young people, and so after that trip and after going to, the schools and everything, I came back and I was just like, I think I want to be a teacher. And the
Oh,
reason
wow.
being, and the reason being is because I wanted to make sure that whatever I'm doing here, eventually that I would be able to always give reference to not only my students but to my peers, to say, hey, there's some things that are needed in other countries that have less than us. How can we help? So when I did come back, I decided to go into early childhood education because I love
Okay.
children. And also, like, I started working with a lot of organizations that had to do with always giving back to students in Malawi. So, yeah, it really changed my life, and it prepared me for my career right
Oh,
now.
wow, wow, wow. That's amazing. And I just love how everything happened just in its own timing. And what I'd like to say is God's timing.
Yes.
Because had you not taken that trip at that time, you may
Mhm.
have ventured off into a totally different
Oh,
career. Uh,
yes.
So it's kinda like, God wanted you to be exactly where you are, and, you're right. Teaching is a ministry because every single day, as you mentioned, you're around these children, you get to either speak life into them or speak death,
Yes.
because
Yes.
we know that the tongue, has the power of life. God created the heavens and earth with his word.
Mhm.
So, just being around these children, you don't know, what's happening with the kids at home. Sometimes you could be
Yes.
reinforcing whatever is going on at home, and sometimes you could actually be creating the foundation for them to really find their identity,
Mhm.
in that school years. But yeah, I mean, I really want to, give a shout out to any teacher out there. It's definitely a very beautiful calling. But
Mhm.
yeah, let's talk more about your writing.
Yes.
So you're such a I don't even think we're gonna be able to, I feel like if we have this full conversation, we'll be here talking for a while because you are so gifted. You
Mhm.
are so gifted, and when I think about you, I think about you come from a musical family, and I think about, your music, your vocal ability. But when you mentioned that you've written 3 books thus far, I'm like, how was that transition? Where did that even stem from? I know that probably being a musician, writing sometimes comes, almost hand in hand with that because obviously
Yes.
not obviously, but most of the times, a lot of musicians like to write their own
Mhm.
song. So,
Mhm.
how was that transition from, singing to writing?
Wow. Actually, I've been writing since like for a very long time. I even
Mhm,
in 8th grade, I had the best English teacher. I had good English teachers actually. But I always remember him, Mr. Giddings at Ruth
okay.
Murdoch. He had us always writing, and would enter into these writing competitions, and so he would be like, write about anything. And I remember at that time, I had written a little poem. At the time, my grandmother passed away. And so, like, honestly,
Mhm.
the only way I could express the pain, the hurt that I was feeling when I was grieving her was writing. And so wrote that small poem, and it got published in this writing competition where they published all these different students from all over the United States.
Oh,
There,
wow.
yeah. So I mean, like since that time, um, I just really, really loved writing, and so I used to, even in churches, I used to like writing plays for the youth.
Wow.
Like I just enjoy writing a lot as much as I do love singing. Now,
Okay.
writing music, I find that so hard. I mean, I don't
Oh,
know why,
really?
but like I find that one a little bit hard, harder
Okay.
than actually writing a few things. If
Mm,
you give me a story to write about, I'll write a story. Or if you give me like, can you write about this season in your life? I'll write about it. But music, I don't know. Like music, I'm so intimidated by writing because you think about
really?
all these great songs out there, and I'm like, am can I find the words to even bring
Wow.
this out? But it's not like I haven't, but I mean, obviously, when the time is right, that will come out too as well. So writing a book, and also my dad's an author too. So just seeing him
Mhm,
write, that has always inspired me, and he's always pushed all of us as his children to write books. And
mhm.
so yeah, even when I came back from Malawi in 2012, my dad was like, you can journal about your experience. And so that kind of journaling, thinking about my experience there turned into my first book. And
Wow.
he helped me, and he has always helped me with all my books. So I would say it's in the family, and
Mhm.
also I just grew up with that passion as well.
Wow, wow,
Mhm.
wow. That is amazing.
Mhm.
Yes, as a musician myself, I enjoy writing.
Yeah.
I yeah, I feel like, I think a lot of times people make it seem more complicated than it really is.
Yes.
And then also if you're writing about an experience, like, let's
Mhm.
just say you go through a heartbreak, I feel it flows out of you a little bit more because it's your experience.
Yes.
So, but yeah, right now I've noticed with a lot of musicians and the lyrical content, even in the gospel world, everything is more so simple. So,
Mhm. Yes.
yeah, I can't wait to hear you venture into that. If you know, if and when you do, I'll be
Yes.
excited to hear what you come up with. Um, yes, so I wanted to ask you just maybe one or two more questions before we end this highlight. I wanted to talk about impact. You know, a lot of times we don't realize the influence that we have on people, the influence that we have on people's lives. You know, with what we say, what we do. There's
Mhm.
always somebody out there watching, even when we don't think someone's watching. They are watching. What
Mhm.
kind of an impact, or I like to call it a kingdom impact,
Mhm.
because I do believe that you're a woman of faith, a woman of God. What kind of kingdom impact do you want to have on people?
Mm. That's such a loaded question. Um, wow. I think for me, the impact that I always love to share, especially in ministry and in the kingdom work, is my story.
Okay.
I may not know how, like, we know the Bible stories. You may have read the Bible stories. You may know all the verses, but if I can tell you where God has brought me from,
Mhm.
perhaps you can see from looking at me that God is real. And so
Amen.
every time for me, whether it's connecting with another young woman, um, who might be saying, "Oh, Fase, like I'm in a single season and I don't know what to do. I like, how do you wait?" Or I'm in this relationship, but I don't feel like I'm supposed to be there. I share my
Mhm.
life experience. I share a Bible verse, yes, to back it up, but I
Mhm.
share my testimony to say, hey, I've been there.
Yeah.
I know what it means. Like, sometimes we often forget the pain that we went through to get
Yeah.
to where we are right now. And I'm not saying that we should live with that pain. That's why when you get hurt, you're left with a scar. And that scar is there to remind you of what happened. And it's not just to dig it up. It's not, but it's also there to show someone to say, hey, I've been there. I've been
Yeah.
hurt there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been I've been shamed before. I've been talked about before. Yes,
Mhm.
I physically I've been sick before, but I know who God is. I know how where he took me from to where I am. And so for me, my kingdom impact is always sharing from where what God has done in my life, what I've seen God do in my family,
Mhm.
as well. And so I never try to hide what God has done. I
I love
really
that.
don't. I really try not to. I sing from experience. I write from experience because I want my life to be a living testimony to someone.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
And, man, I love that. Yes, that was a loaded question, but
Mm,
I just love the fact that, yeah, it's one thing to say to it's one thing to sympathize with someone, and it's another thing to empathize with them, you know,
mhm,
to say, "Yeah, I've been where you are, and here are the tools, here are the steps,
mhm,
here's the advice, you know, here's the shoulder, here's the
mhm,
pillow, here's the tissue or
mhm.
Kleenex." So,
Yes.
yeah, definitely, I really love that. So we're here. at the end of the highlight. I did not know it was gonna come to an end so quickly.
I
I was just
know.
starting to warm up.
Yes.
But we are here at the end, and I have a final question, and I love to ask, um, almost, every guest that we've had on the podcast. This is the question that I normally see people thinking about it, and, it's a beautiful question. What legacy
Mhm,
a lot of times when we think about legacy, uh, people think, future.
mhm,
But for me, I believe the legacy is now. Even what you're doing now, you're building towards your legacy, right?
mhm,
Because
mm.
we don't know how much time we have on this earth. Tomorrow, we may not be here.
That's right.
So,
Mm.
what legacy are you leaving behind for your family? What legacy are you leaving behind for your children, and for, the rest of your family.
Oof. Um, at this point in my life, I think when I even look at my children right now, um, the legacy that I want to leave with them is just um to give the best that I have as a parent. And when I say give my best, I'm not talking just about money. I'm talking about my time, just spending time with my child, um, being able to just soak in the moments that you know that you're not going to have later on.
Mhm.
Um, and so, even in this season of like having three, and they're all under three,
Under 3.
especially with my 2-year old. There's some moments where I just want to get through the week, but then there's also moments where um, I see that he's growing. His mind is growing each and every day. He's soaking new things every day. And
Mhm.
sometimes the legacy that I want to leave him with behind is for him to know that, you know what, through everything, my mom and my dad were there for me. And they were able to sow into me, not just providing the things, the clothes, the food, but also being able to pour into them, that if I see a gift that my child has, I push them into it. I want them
Mhm.
to push into their gift that God has called them to be. And I want to be 100% behind my child. I also want him to walk away knowing who God is,
Yes.
be able to love others and people. And so like what there's some moments where you just like, yes, I want him to have the best life. I want him to have the things that maybe I didn't grow up with. Of course, I
Mm,
want that for him. But at the same time, I want him to, or even him and the twins to remember that I was present. There was
yes.
nothing too making me too busy for them. I don't
Mhm.
um sometimes even in this time, I know I didn't grow up like that, but there's some even people out there, pastors' kids, who grew up bitter because they're like, my parents were always busy with the church. No, no, no.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
want my child to know that, yes, we are called as a family to be a family that serves the Lord. And this is how we're going to do in the house. But also, I want you to learn how to love on the Lord. And I'm going to teach that even by being present in the house. And
Um,
so that's in this season, I'm learning to be present. I'm learning to be present for my child, and I want them to remember that. Upon everything else that I can teach them, I
mhm.
want them to remember that mom and dad were present, and this is what they taught me while they were here. This is what they laid before me. For me, the legacy that my parents left me, I want to say, is that they sowed into us, into our gifts.
Yeah.
And when I see where I am right now, it may not be like, like the top of the top, but where I am now is because I saw my parents sow into the gifts that they saw inside of me, inside of my siblings. And so the best thing that I would love to give is that, even for my children, that and also being present as well.
I absolutely love that. I love that, and you're so right.
Mm,
Just being there, living in the moment,
yeah.
because even kids can see when you are distracted.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
When they're like, "Okay, over here, mommy."
Yes. Mhm.
Yes, those moments are so precious and they go by so fast. But God is so good. I was just talking to someone today and an aunt of mine, and we were just talking about, God and just motherhood and how motherhood is a calling.
Mhm.
And not every woman is, I believe that every woman is maternal, even the women that don't have children,
Mhm.
but not every woman is called to motherhood.
Mhm.
So enjoy yourself.
Yes.
Enjoy the moments, soak in the time with your children,
Mhm.
uh, teach them everything that you can,
Yes.
and just live every day enjoying them
Mm.
because they really do grow up fast.
They really do.
They
They
do grow
really
up
do.
fast.
Yes.
Yeah. Lipase, I do not want to keep you away from your lovely family a minute longer. Thank you so much for your just your sharing your heart and for sharing your time with us here at Sister to Sister. And just for being a beautiful light,
Mm.
not only visibly, but even inside you. You have a beautiful spirit. And I just pray and I hope and I believe that God is going to continue to work in you with that. You and God aligned, that you're going to do amazing things, and I even believe that you'll do amazing things, and the schools that you are talking about in Malawi. I just hope that God can go ahead of you and give you a great vision to educate and to inform many more children along the way, including your very own lovely children.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much to your husband for lending you to us tonight. And
Yes. Yes.
yes, and we will definitely touch base with you again. Happy New Year. And as we go into a new year, may we go in restored,
Mm.
renewed,
Yes.
refreshed,
Mhm.
rejuvenated, and
Mhm.
ready
Amen.
to
Yes.
face whatever it is that God has for us so that we're able to sow more seeds into his kingdom and bring many others along the boat, the ark with us. Yeah.
Yes.
So you and your family have a lovely night. And thank you so much for joining us here at Sister to Sister Pods, right here on Lifase Bilima Mpasu's YouTube page. It was an adventure. And
Yes.
we'll talk to you guys again next week, Thursday. You guys take care and have a lovely night. Nightly passe.
Good night. Thank you again. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.